Remember to like and subscribe. All right, folks, back for more Sound of a Swish. You ready to go deep?
I'm ready.
Okay, good, because we are diving into the world of basketball passing.
Yeah.
We've got a great source today. Basketball 101, Fundamentals of Passing. It's from USA Basketball.
Sounds good.
And of course, I've got an expert here to break it all down. So let's get right to it. Why is passing so important? I mean, yeah, it's a team sport, but like, what's the big deal about passing?
Well, it's easy to get caught up, watching the highlights, all the scoring and the dunks. But like you said, basketball is a team sport. And I think this guide really reminds us that passing is like the glue that holds everything together,
I love that the glue. So it's not just about like getting rid of the ball when you're stuck. I mean, there's a real art to it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Every pass is a decision. Every pass is a calculated risk. And it's really a chance to create an opportunity for a teammate. It's really about making the whole team better, not just focusing on yourself.
That's a really interesting point. It's almost like passing is like a form of communication on the court,
For sure. Yeah, you're sending a message with every throw.
You are. But let's be real for a second. As much as we love this idea of this beautiful passing game, there's pressure to score, especially for young players. So how do you instill that passing mentality?
Yeah.
Like early on, especially when they're surrounded by all these, highlight reels of amazing shots.
Well, I think that's really where coaching comes in. Young players often face some unique challenges when it comes to passing. They're still developing physically, right? So their strength and coordination may not be all the way there, yet their spatial awareness is still evolving,
right?
Meaning they might not see those passing lanes as quickly.
It's like trying to process, a complex equation while you're still learning basic math facts.
Exactly. It can be super overwhelming for them. And, if coaches aren't careful, they can inadvertently discourage young players from passing. Imagine a kid, throws a risky pass, gets intercepted, and the coach reacts negatively.
Oh, I've been there.
That can create, a fear of making mistakes.
Right.
And that fear can just, stifle their development.
It's like they're being punished for trying to be a good teammate. Right? It's like,
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced that kind of pressure, as a player?
Oh, yeah. I think we've all been there at some point. It's important to remember that mistakes are part of the learning process, and positive reinforcement can go a long way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about like the mindset, the why behind passing. Now let's get into how our source from USA Basketball breaks down like the two fundamental types of passes. You got the air pass and the bounce pass.
Right. And think of these as your building blocks. Master these and you'll have a solid foundation to develop even more advanced passing skills.
Okay, so what are the key variations within those two categories? Like, what are the moves that every aspiring passer needs to have in their arsenal?
Well, according to USA Basketball, the essential techniques are the chest pass, the bounce pass, the overhead pass, and the wraparound pass.
Okay, that wraparound pass sounds intriguing. It's like something you see in a pro game, right? Can you paint us a picture of how that looks on the court?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So imagine a player driving towards the basket, defender, right on their hip instead of forcing a shot. They use their non-pivot foot to step around the defender and whip the ball around their back to a teammate, cutting to the hoop. It's a very quick, deceptive move that can catch the defense off guard.
That sounds like a move that requires a lot of practice to get right.
For sure.
But let's back up for a second and talk about like the bread and butter, like the chest pass and the bounce pass.
Okay, so the chest pass is like your go-to for short to medium distance passes.
Okay.
So you want to hold the ball on the sides with your thumbs behind it, then you push it forward from your chest, and you really want to snap your wrists at the end to give it that backspin.
Ah, that backspin. Is that kind of similar to like putting a spiral on a football? How important is that backspin for a good pass?
Oh, it's incredibly important. Backspin creates stability and accuracy, which makes the pass easier to control for the receiver. It's all physics, really.
So break it down for us. What's the science behind that spin?
So think about it like a pass without backspin is going to wobble all over the place, right? Making it hard to handle.
Right.
But backspin creates a smooth, predictable trajectory.
Makes sense.
Allowing the ball to travel in a straight line and arrive at its destination with a nice soft landing.
Got it. Now, what about the overhead pass? I feel like I see that one a lot as an outlet pass after a rebound. What exactly does that mean for someone who maybe isn't familiar with that term?
Yeah, so an outlet pass is basically that first pass after a defensive rebound. So the goal is to quickly transition the ball up the court and initiate that fast break.
Right.
And the overhead pass is perfect for this because it allows you to throw the ball with power and distance.
So it's all about that quick, decisive movement to catch the defense off guard.
Exactly. And the overhead pass gives you the leverage and force to make that happen.
Okay, so we've covered the chest pass, the bounce pass, the overhead pass.
Yeah.
What about that fancy wraparound pass? Is that something that young players should be trying to master?
Well, the wraparound pass is definitely a more advanced technique, and it's best reserved for players who have a solid grasp of the fundamentals and a very flashy move.
Right.
But it can be risky if not executed properly.
It's like trying to do a double backflip on the trampoline before you can even land a single one.
Yeah, exactly. You need that foundation first.
You need that foundation.
Yeah.
All right, before we move on to part 2 of our deep dive into passing, what are some key takeaways for our listeners so far? What should they be thinking about as they, hit the court?
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing to remember is that passing is more than just flinging the ball around. It's about making smart decisions, understanding the situation, and really putting your teammates in a position to succeed.
And don't forget about that backspin. It's the secret sauce to a smooth, accurate pass. We'll be back with part 2 after a short break, so stay tuned for more insights into the art of passing. Back here on Sound of the Swish, and before the break, we were talking about those fundamental pass types, the chest pass, bounce pass, overhead pass.
Yeah.
But our guide from USA Basketball also mentioned some other passes, like the baseball pass.
Oh, yeah. The baseball pass is a great tool for those long-distance throws.
Okay.
It's all about power and accuracy, just like, throwing a baseball from the outfield to home plate.
Yeah, I can see where that name comes from.
Right.
So how does it differ from, the other passes we've discussed?
So with the baseball pass, you're going to bring the ball all the way back behind your ear, and then using a single arm overhand motion, you're going to launch it toward your teammate.
Okay.
It's often used for outlet passes after a rebound or, to hit a teammate streaking down the court on a fast break.
So it's like a supercharged overhead pass.
Exactly.
Designed for those long-range connections that make sense. Our source also mentions a pass called the dribble pass. What's that all about?
Yeah, so the dribble pass is a quick deceptive pass that's used to catch the defense off guard. So as you're dribbling, you use a single hand to kind of push the ball out to a teammate who's in a scoring position.
Okay.
So it's all about timing and precision, seamlessly transitioning from dribbling to passing.
It sounds like a move that requires a good sense of rhythm and coordination.
Oh, yeah.
You got to be smooth to pull that one off.
Yeah, okay.
And then there's the behind the back pass. So that one is definitely a crowd pleaser.
Yeah, it's flashy, but it's not just for show.
Okay.
A well-executed behind-the-back pass can be a game changer.
Yeah.
It's a very quick, deceptive pass that can completely throw off the defense.
So it's not just about style. There's actual strategy involved.
Absolutely. The behind-the-back pass is most effective when used sparingly and unexpectedly. It's all about catching the defense off guard and creating that scoring opportunity for your teammate.
Right.
However, it does come with a higher risk of turnovers if not mastered.
Okay, so it's high risk, high reward kind of move. You got to have the skills and the confidence to pull it off in a game situation. But let's go back to the basics for a moment. One thing that really stuck with me from the USA Basketball Guide is that simple phrase, a good pass is a pass a teammate can catch. It seems obvious, but I bet a lot of us are guilty of throwing passes that are too hard, too soft, or just plain off target.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's easy to get caught up in the moment and, forget about the fundamentals.
Right.
At the end of the day, a pass is only as good as its ability to, connect with your teammate.
It's a great reminder that passing is all about teamwork and communication. You're not just throwing the ball, you're sending a message, and that message needs to be clear and easy to understand. Speaking of making things easy for your teammates, the guide also talks about stepping towards your receiver when you pass. Why is that so important?
Well, it all comes down to generating power and accuracy. Stepping towards your target allows you to engage your core muscles and transfer that energy into the pass.
Okay.
This results in a more precise and controlled throw.
So it's not just about arm strength, it's about using your whole body
Exactly.
to create a smooth, powerful pass.
Exactly. Think about it like any athletic movement, throwing a baseball or hitting a tennis ball.
Right.
You wouldn't just stand there and flick your wrist, would you? You engage your legs, your core, your entire body to generate that force. And momentum passing in basketball is no different. It's a full body movement.
That's a fantastic analogy.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see how these small details can make such a big difference in the quality of your passes. Now, I know a lot of our listeners are eager to improve their passing game. Are there any drills you recommend for practicing these techniques?
Of course, a classic one is the two-line passing drill.
Okay.
You have two lines of players facing each other, and they just practice different types of passes, chest passes, bounce passes, overhead passes as they move down the court.
Ah, yes, the two-line drill takes me back to my high school basketball days.
Yeah. Simple, but effective. It allows you to get a lot of reps in and really work on your form. Are there any other drills you recommend?
Another great one is the three-man weave drill. It's a little more dynamic.
Yeah.
Players pass back and forth as they run down the court in a zigzag pattern, simulating game-like situations and improving their court awareness.
And of course, you can never go wrong with a good old-fashioned wall passing drill.
Exactly.
It's a solo drill that allows you to practice your form and get those reps in without needing a partner.
Right. The wall is your best friend when it comes to mastering those fundamentals. You can work on, different types of passes, experiment with angles and speeds, and really focus on that all-important follow-through.
And the best part is you don't have to worry about anyone judging your wonky passes.
Right.
But seriously, folks, incorporating these drills into your practice routine can really make a difference in your passing skills.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's all about repetition and building those muscle memory pathways.
Right.
The more you practice, the more natural and instinctive those passes will become. And that's what it's all about, right? Making those passes second nature so you can focus on the bigger picture. Reading the defense, anticipating your teammates' movements, and making those game-changing plays.
Yeah, passing is a skill that requires both physical and mental mastery.
So as we wrap up part 2 of our deep dive into passing, what are some key takeaways for our listeners? What should they be thinking about as they head back out onto the court?
I would say the biggest thing is to remember that passing is an art form.
Okay.
And like any art form, it takes practice, dedication, and attention to detail. Don't be afraid to experiment with different techniques, but always prioritize accuracy and control.
Great advice. We'll be back with part 3 after a short break, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Sound of a Swish. We've been talking all about passing and basketball and how it's not just about, throwing the ball. It's about strategy and timing and understanding the flow of the game.
Yeah, for sure.
Before the break, we were talking about stepping into your passes and incorporating those drills to really elevate your game.
It's those seemingly small details that can make a huge difference on the court,
Right.
Mastering those mechanics allows you to just react instinctively and make those split-second decisions.
Yeah.
That can really create scoring opportunities.
It's like you're speaking a different language on the court.
Yeah.
It's a language of movement and precision.
Uh-huh.
Our source from USA Basketball really emphasizes the importance of follow-through. Why is that so crucial for a successful pass?
Follow-through is what gives the ball that backspin,
Right.
which we talked about is essential for control and accuracy. It's that final push of energy that ensures the ball reaches its target smoothly and predictably.
So it's not just about getting the ball out of your hands. It's about that final touch that sets your teammate up for success.
Yeah, exactly. A good follow-through also adds power to your pass, especially for those longer throws across the court. It's that extra oomph that can make the difference between a pass, getting intercepted and reaching your teammate safely.
It's like putting that extra spin on a bowling ball, giving it that final push towards the pins.
Exactly.
But speaking of pins, I think it's easy for people to underestimate the mental aspect of passing.
Yeah.
It's not just about physical skills. It's about making decisions, reading the defense,
Right.
anticipating your teammates' moves.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. Passing is a thinking person's game. You have to be aware of where your teammates are, where the defenders are, what kind of pass is going to give your team the best advantage in that moment.
It's almost like playing chess on the court,
Yeah.
except the pieces are moving at lightning speed.
That's a great analogy.
You have to think several moves ahead,
Right.
anticipating the flow of the game and making
Yeah.
decisions that set your team up for success.
Yeah.
So it's not just about seeing the open man. It's about seeing the play before it unfolds.
Exactly. A great passer isn't just reacting to what's happening on the court.
Right.
They're dictating the pace and flow of the game with their passes.
That's an incredible insight. It's like they're conducting an orchestra, bringing all the elements together to create this symphony of movement and scoring opportunities. Well, folks, we've covered a lot of ground today, exploring those fundamentals of passing, the mechanics, the drills, the mental game. As we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you want our listeners to remember?
I want them to remember that passing is the heart of basketball. It's the thread that connects players, creates opportunities, and elevates the game to a whole new level.
Yeah.
Whether you're a seasoned veteran or just starting out, never underestimate the power of a well-executed pass.
Absolutely. And remember those flashy passes that you see in pro games. They're built on a foundation of solid fundamentals.
That's right.
So practice those chest passes, bounce passes, overhead passes, and you'll be well on your way to becoming a passing maestro.
For sure.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in to Sound of a Swish. And remember to like and subscribe for more insights into the game we all love. Until next time, keep those passes sharp and your heads in the game.